Hey friends, it's Lauren Taylor. Thanks for joining me in my craft room today for a pretty pink Posh video. And I'm excited to share with you a fun Christmas card idea using the Christmas Dinosaurs clear stamp and coordinating dies. I'm also going to be using the Wonky stitched rectangle dies and the layered candy cane stencil set. So I'm going to start with my stenciling as I will be using some stencil paste and I want to give it as much time as possible to dry. So I have an A2 piece of green cardstock and I'm going to start with layer A, which is the solid cane of the candy cane stencil. And I'm just going to line that up onto my green cardstock. I am using a grip mat to help keep those in place while I stencil. For my first layer, I'm using Distress ink in Picket Fence with a foam blender. Now it is kind of hard to work with white ink on colored cardstock, especially because it does soak in a bit to the cardstock. So I'm going to go over quite a few layers. I think I went over 2 to 3 times and I really tried to squish that ink. You can see here through that stencil and onto the cardstock, and I'm focusing more along the outside edges because the center will be covered up when we layer on our images later on in this video. Once I have those stenciled candy canes in place, I'm going to grab some gold glitter dust spray. It's just like a spray paint, but glittery. And I use this a lot of times as kind of a sealant for my picket fence because I'm worried it's going to smear or fade. And so just adding that little bit of glitter dust will keep that white looking bright and vibrant on my colored cardstock. It dries really quickly, so I went ahead and placed that back onto my grip mat, and I'm adding the bee stencil, which will give us the color portions of our candy cane. As a side note, when you use the gold glitter dust spray, I definitely recommend opening your windows and using it in a well ventilated area. I did open my window when I was using it here on camera. So through the second stencil or stencil B, I'm using Simon Hurley Create Astro Paste in the color Bee Sting. And while it looks a little bit muted here right now, as the paste dries, that glitter just really pops off the card and it's going to give our candy canes a really pretty red glittery color. If you know me, I love shine on my cards, so anywhere where I can sneak in a little bit of extra shimmery things, I'm going to do it. And using Astro Paste with Pretty Pink Posh stencils is the perfect combination. So here's the best part, a little stencil reveal, and you can see how fun those candy canes are looking. Again, they look a little muted right now, but once that red or the bee sting stencil paste dries, I'll bring it back on camera and you'll see how beautiful it is. So I put away all of my stenciling items, cleaned off my stencils, cleaned off my grip mat, and I'm going to move on to stamping. Now these little critters did take some time to stamp, so I don't have them in today's video, but I'm stamping them with a black alcohol marker friendly ink, and I stamped all of the dinosaurs from this stamp set, and I used Olo markers, which are alcohol markers, to color them in. And once those are colored, I'm going to grab the coordinating die set and I will cut all of these adorable little dinosaurs out. I just love how festive they are. I tried to use more like non-pink and purple colors for the dinosaurs in case maybe you I mean, there could have been purple dinosaurs, but I tried to go with more reptilian looking colors when I colored them in. There you can see my background. That red looks so much more vibrant. I hope you love this background as much as I love how it has turned out. But let's move on to die cutting more of our pieces. So like I said, I die cut out my images and then I die cut out the second largest wonky stitch rectangle die from vellum. So I like using vellum when I don't want to hide my background, but I do need a layer in between what I consider too busy background and a too busy foreground. So I'm going to layer all of my dinosaurs together, and I'm afraid that the background and the dinosaurs without some space in between the two would get lost. So how I handle that is by using a sheet of vellum because it's, kind of transparent. You can kind of see through it, but still gives that soft layering between a busy background and a busy foreground. I'm also going to use this piece of vellum for my sentiment. So I'm stamping Merry Rexmas in VersaFine Clair in the color Nocturne. And I'm going to use some holographic embossing powder from Ranger. It's a clear embossing powder that has an iridescent glitter to it. So it looks black because it's going to be clear with black ink. But when you put it in the right light, it gives off this really pretty iridescent or holographic shimmer. So after I cleaned up or put away my embossing powder, I went ahead and melted that embossing powder down, and I'll set that aside to cool. I'm grabbing my A2 card base. This is going to be a landscape or horizontal card base. So I have a side folding card that I'm just rotating 90 degrees, and I'll go ahead and get ready to start layering. I'm adding my adhesive to my card base because my card panel that I'm adhering is A2 in size. So I'll just go ahead and line it up to one of the folded corners of the card. I like doing that to make sure if my card front doesn't match up perfectly, I can just trim off anywhere that excess white cardstock would show. But I did a pretty good job at trimming my A2 card front. So that lined up nicely. Now the next layer I would normally just go ahead and adhere, but because it's vellum, I need to know where I can place glue. So I'm getting an idea of, I know it wants to go in the center of my card base, and I have all my dinosaurs, and I have a rough idea in my head how I want to layer everything. So I'll go ahead and actually add my dinosaurs to the vellum first, and then I will glue down the vellum wonky stitched rectangle. So I'm going to start with my dinosaur all the way on the left because he's going to be more in the background, and I'm using foam adhesive behind all of my cute little critters today. So I'm adding him all the way to the left. He is going to go off a little bit of the vellum. I'm making sure he looks like he's standing straight, but I'm not pressing the foam adhesive onto that candy cane background yet, just making sure he's stuck to the vellum. I'm going to move on to my next dinosaur, doing a mix this time of foam and liquid adhesive because I want the foam to attach to the vellum and the liquid to attach to where he's layering other or over other dinosaurs. Next I have my T-Rex, my funny green looking one, and then I'm adding my Triceratops with the cute little gifts on his back, and finally the pterodactyl flying over with a holiday wreath. So now that those are all in place, I can flip it over and grab my liquid adhesive and add glue to the back side of my critters. So this glue will not show through the vellum because my critters are all, blocking all of the glue from showing. Once I have that down, I'll go ahead and add that to the center of my card base. Now I did notice that the top two corners were not wanting to stay flat, so I'm going to add a little pressure just using my MISTI to help push that down while I clean up my desk. But to help with those corners, I'm going to grab some embellishments. So I'm going to pour out some of my Jolly Santa clay confetti, and I'm going to use some of the red and white circles that come in this confetti mix to add a little bit of decoration and, embellishments to my card. But I'm going to make sure that I have two in the corners of that top vellum because not only am I going to use liquid adhesive to glue those pieces down to the vellum, I'm also going to hide a little bit more glue on the back side of the vellum, and you won't see it because the little glue spot is going to be covered by one of those clay circles. So you can see here I'm adding that glue to the back of the vellum. I'm using some magnets because my glass board is magnetic to apply pressure. And then I went ahead and added the little clay embellishment right over that same glue dot. And that way you won't see it, but there will still be some extra adhesive in those top corners to keep that vellum in place. Here's a final look at how my Merry Rexmas dinosaur Christmas card turned out. I hope you liked the glitter that I added all over this card, but yet kept it pretty cute for kids with those adorable dinosaurs. Let me know in the comments which dinosaur is your favorite. Mine is definitely the Triceratops, and not just on this card. In general, I love a good Triceratops. Let me know which dino is your favorite. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll click like, and if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. As always, you can find everything I use down below in the description box. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye!